Yeah. Yeah.
Have you guys heard this song? How do I start? Welcome back to another YouTube video. I'm so excited to film this video because this idea was literally thought about yesterday, and you can think of it as like, it's not a podcast, but it's like a mini series TV show. I just call it a TV show. The Lana and Goya TV show. She's my best friend. Best friends forever. Come here, girl, don't be shy. Oh. Oh my goodness. No, because then I'm very allergic to dogs. She's a showstopper.
Yo.
Hi. Oh, I pressed on your nipples. Okay.
No, get off your phone. Unless you want to tell the people what you're doing on your phone.
I want to start a little TikTok shop. I want to start a TikTok shop because I'm like, okay, I want to start my own clothing line, but then I think about it. And inventory, to carry inventory, guys, there's a bunch of SKUs and a bunch of back-end stuff. I work backwards, right? Like I even put on my clothes backwards. I do, even my kids' clothes backwards. I'm so sorry, but I literally do everything backwards. I literally think of the what, and then I think about the how, and then the why. So I think about the project and how it makes me feel so, I guess, alive, because I like to create. And then I think about all the back end stuff. But I've learned that if you don't do things correctly and you don't have things properly established, right? Then how are you supposed to scale? You can get in big trouble with the IRS, especially if you don't even know how to do your numbers correctly, or if you bring your accounting done incorrectly, or your bookkeeping done incorrectly to your accountant technically is not liable for your mistakes. So you can come, oh, that's easy. Yeah. One of our clients came out and she kept calling Goya a he. Goya needs a little pink collar with some diamonds that says more than just a lash business. I know it's hard being that cute. I can't relate. So my week, it's been very crazy. And that's why I am running on Nuatonic, the world's first productivity drink. And no, I'm not sponsored. 5 calories, and it has a bunch of vitamins and some preservatives, but that's okay. We are in the process of filming a bunch of crazy stuff. Yes. I'm getting distracted. I was thinking of how I should prank Isa. We've been filming a bunch of new courses, updating absolutely everything. Am I allowed to say that? Because, just some things were, I don't know. In my courses, I've had every color here in my courses. So I'm just going back to my natural roots. I mean, I definitely, in one of the videos, I had like overfilled lips. And my mom like encouraged it. She was like, don't do that to your face. You're gonna get wrinkles. You have to get Botox. It's preventative, this, and that. So I'm like, okay, I need that, right? But no. If you eat healthy and you drink a bunch of water and you get your vitamins in and you don't try to make crazy faces all the time, I don't think you need as much Botox. But yeah, with my scheduling, I mean, some weeks are a little bit slower than others. Like this week, we pretty much jam-packed my schedule. So for example, today, I woke up around 5:45. I got out of bed, changed my son's diaper, and worked out from like 6:20 to 6:50. Got ready, well, not really ready, but got ready, drove here in some traffic, and then we started to get to work. We worked on projects for the year, we worked on manuals, I got my lashes done. What are you thinking of eating? Toro Loco? I have a meal prep if you want it in my lunchbox. Oh yeah, I like to share my food. And that's something that That's the reason why one of my sisters was always so nice to me, because she wanted me to share her food. Baby, she loves food still to this day. I mean, do I miss working with my sister? Yes and no. Working with family. Well, my mom worked here and she thought it was gonna be so fun, and you know, every time she comes in, she loves to get her lashes done and she loves to talk. But like, yes, do you like it, the food? Do you think that if she sits on my lap, she'll like jump off?
How was working with your mom? Like on like day one, did you love it?
Like that? So I just carry her like that? Okay. I love you, Goya. I like a babe. Oof. Yeah, I know, but she just kind of like spit all over my face.
Wait, okay, either put, I think you should
Put
just
Goya down.
put Gloria down.
No, just for little.
She breathes very loud. She's breathing louder than how loud you're talking.
So in other words, talk louder. I got it. Okay. Let's talk about my mom really quick because we get sidetracked. That's here we have 10 conversations in a matter of like 1 minute. My mom lasted here 1 week. We even got her Anna stickers packaged by Anna. She just was, oh, let me call her. I'm gonna be like, Mom, how did you feel when you worked here? I'm so depressed. I just didn't feel like myself. Like I was in the back packaging and
I was just gonna call you.
were you? I beat you to it. So I'm doing an interview right now and people wanted to know what your experience was like working at Lana Lashes. And be honest.
Well, the thing is, I love being there, but for me, I need people around me and that I can talk. And then I couldn't talk because I had to focus. So I can't. Me machito.
You had to focus. And how did you feel? You just felt that week like depressed, right? Like not like yourself?
Yeah, me machito, do you know? Yeah. Not like, yeah, like tired because I feed off energy of everybody.
So you feed off of people.
I feed, it's both ways. Fíjate que I charge you.
Yes, you charge me.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
So,
But other than that, besides the fact that you had to like get to work.
I mean, what do you mean?
So the only reason why you didn't like to work here is because
Yeah, it's different because of what I've always done. It's just not my thing. I like to talk, and when I'm working, I'm on.
you know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna buy you
What do you mean about getting to work?
like you thought that it was gonna be like all fun and games and that you were gonna be able to like chat with like clients, but that wasn't the job role.
Yes, I wanted to like.
Yeah, you wanted to bob your bob, and it just wasn't bobbing.
It wasn't Bobby.
He was sad. Yes, I actually got my style inspo from my mother, Anna. And literally, if she ever saw me buy something with color, she would tell me to return it. She would tell me, you don't look good in that color. Color is just not it. It's not in style. Take it off. When in doubt, monochromatic it out. I really want to I wanted to start like it's always been, I guess, in the front of my mind to start some kind of clothing brand. I tried to start like a fitness wear line. It was just not it because it was just too revealing and it wasn't for many people. And then I tried to start a lingerie line. I don't know why, but I guess there was a moment in my pregnancy where oh no, I'm itching. So what I wanted to do was like when I was pregnant with Adriano, putting lingerie on just made me feel so sexy, you know? And I'm like, okay, maybe I should start this. And
You started a new business when you were pregnant?
yeah, my whole life I've been like that. I had snakes when I was little, and then I sold them.
You sold your snakes?
I sold my
Wait, how old
snakes.
were you?
Like 13. I would also, what else did I try to sell? I tried to make bracelets and sell them on Facebook. I think I would go in my mom's purses and look for her change. And then when I was 11, I would walk to Navarro, which is like a Hispanic Walgreens, yes, Walgreens. And I literally bought hair box dye. I dyed my hair black and my mom came home with my hair pitch black. She freaked out. So I've always loved money in a sense, or like getting money without having to ask for it. And I've always loved beauty. So it's crazy because like I would literally get bullied in school for wearing like moccasins. Like, remember, I don't know if you guys know the brand Ed Hardy, but I used to love that brand. And they had like this really cool like suede like moccasins. They're just like suede with like a little skull on the side, like a colorful skull. And it's just like, I would wear that with like khaki pants. Like what? Oh, Goya. That's funny now, because if Jesus can carry a cross after being tortured, I can do an extra 10 minutes on the Stairmaster.
Come here. Come here.
Goya.
Come here.
Anyways, fast forward to high school. I was actually a really good student. I was in honor roll. I had well, not honor roll, but I think that's like middle school and elementary honor roll. I just really liked to get my homework done in class. And I hated being in trouble, or felt like I was gonna get in trouble. So I did all my homework. I did it fast. I always wanted to be ahead. So by the time that I was in my last year of high school, I only had 2 classes to do. So then I actually ended up taking one online so I could finish faster. And then I only had 1 class in the morning, and then I would leave for work. And I don't know. Where did I work in high school, honestly? I don't even remember. I had work experience, so I would leave, and it was the best thing ever. I think I worked with like kids at an after school care. I don't know, I would go to the gym too. I don't know what I did, honestly. It's like I've had every job that you can think of. And then by the time that graduation came, I showed up to FIU, and I couldn't find my place in line. And they're like, oh, like, since you have this badge, you go to the front. And I'm like, what? I didn't even know I was top 12% of my class. I'm like, I'm not even there. How could that be, you know? But, so I was pretty proud of myself. And then I enrolled into just I enrolled into a community college, honestly. I knew that I didn't want to get in debt just because of college, because I didn't even know what I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to be in the medical field, because my mom was always like, get a job in the medical field. You're always going to have a job. And little did I know, like, nursing is actually pretty competitive, right? I don't know. But that's what I've heard, you know? And then I wanted to be a PA for kids. I've always loved kids. And my sisters always told me that I was going to be the first one to have kids. And that was right. So I enrolled into a community college. I was almost done with my associates, and then I decided to take a break. And at that time I was working I had every job again. I was working with a hairstylist as her assistant. And the way that I actually got that job was because I referred so many people to her. And like I had my blonde hair, I had like extensions. Like I begged my mom, like, please mom, I'll pay you when I get paid, like please. She's doing a special. So anyways, she's like, do you want to work with me? Because you've sent me so many people. It's literally insane. And I think it was because I had either social media or I think I had like Facebook at the time. And the power of social media was real, because you just post something and you can gain so many clients. So I started working with her. And I actually really loved it. It didn't feel like work. Like I would literally do 12-hour shifts with no problem. I would wash people's hair. I would blow dry it. I would do waves. I would style it. Sometimes like she would even tell me to like put the toner on. It was pretty cool. So then I ended up dropping out of community college, because she's like, go to hair school. So that way, when I opened my salon, you can work there, because we were just working from her house. Like sometimes I had to knock on the door and wake her up, but good times, good times. Every blow dry I did was commission. I think it was like $7 to $10. So I'm like, oh, I need to do as many blow dries as I can. And that added up. I would keep little notes And yeah, like I'd be blow drying hair, it would be 10 p.m., washing people's hair in the sink. It was like that. But so then I decided to go to cosmetology school. And I remember getting in trouble because I didn't want to wear black scrubs. And I'm like, okay, no. Like, why am I going to learn from somebody that doesn't want to be here? I didn't, like, we started braiding on mannequins. I'm like, this is so hard. I can't do this. And I remember going into the bathroom that day and calling my mom, like, Mom, I don't want to do this anymore. I think that this is not for me. And she was like, again, you're going to drop out of school again? Like, what are you going to do with your life? And I'm like, you know what, Mom? Don't worry. I'm going to figure it out. I lost, I guess, my job because the hairstylist that I was working with fell into, you know, drugs and all that. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to see where I can get a job at. I'm like, I'm going to get a job in the nightlife industry. So that way I can make money and move out of my parents' house, and I don't have to hear them complain and whine and ask me what I'm gonna do with my life. Like, it was just, I remember feeling so much pressure to the point where, like, I just, you know how people say I want to be a kid again? I don't want to be a kid. I like where I'm at. I want to have the kids and give them the love. I want to go work with kids here and there when I can. But other than that, I don't want to ever be a kid. It was just so stressful. Bye, Rhythm. So then I got a job in the nightlife, you guys. I applied for like one of the biggest nightclubs here in Miami. And I don't know how I got the job, but I got the job by being honest, right? Look, I don't have experience. I've never worked in nightlife, but I promise you I have very good work ethic. I will work whenever you need me. And they're like, okay, perfect. Can you list like 5 champagnes? I listed 2. Honestly, I got the job. It was a little scary because I was a morning person and my shifts were from 3 a.m. to 9 a.m. I remember asking the girls, like, how do you do this? Like, how do you stay up? Hi, Ange. Ange, I'm just telling them about my story. Come sit.
I'm your sister in the car.
So how was I as I was like the best sister. I'm the nicest sister.
Oh yeah,
I even bought her a puppy.
We've never gotten into a fight.
Unless you take my unworn clothes without asking, like baby would. If you ate baby's leftovers, she would fight you. Remember?
Never even knew what job she had at the time.
Because I've had every job.
Like I get that from you though.
What's one thing that you do remember? My toxic ex?
I didn't know if you wanted to talk about that. I don't know.
Yeah, you can say bye. It's okay.
Okay. Bye. Sorry.
I thought you were a stripper. I don't think not.
I don't think the mic heard.
I didn't know what a bottle girl was. You know?
Yeah, but anyways, I got it. My first nightlife job ever was at a strip club, but it was like the most high-end strip club. Like they don't take their, panties off. I worked there for like 3 months. And then I really couldn't take it anymore. So I just emailed them saying like, I'm not gonna come in, sorry. So then I actually was getting my lashes done so religiously at the time. Big 15s and decurl, like just big. I looked like a mouse. I remember my lash tech at the time being like, oh Lana, like, why don't you become my first student? Like you're always here. And I said, okay, sure, I'll put a deposit now. Like, it doesn't hurt to try. I don't know. I've tried probably 15 different things now. So I kept putting it off until, again, like I quit my job and I'm like, you know what? When can we start my lash training? Because I kind of need to make some money. Most people, they wait to get their lash business going and then quit their job. Again, this is how I work backwards. I do everything backwards and I do everything the opposite way. And I guess that's just how I was as a girl, like a little girl. I wanted to do things that people didn't want to do. And I took my first lash course. I remember not being able to even see the lashes. I was her first student, so I was kind of more like the guinea pig. And I posted it on social media. And I'm like, I'm looking for lash models. And that's when my best friend Angie came in. I didn't know her. And she stuck with me ever since. I'll pop up like a little picture of what my first set looked like. It's right here. It looks like spider legs. There's no shape, form. I didn't learn styling. I didn't really learn anything. I just kind of had to wing it. I had to just take people as they started to request, because I'm not gonna say no to $50 lashes, right? That's how I started. And then I started in my mom's living room. Thank you, Mom. I remember I have like all my client videos in back of like a Christmas tree because it was literally in the living room with my stepdad and a little dog who bit clients' feet. It was really crazy. Like I wouldn't really recommend that setup. People kept coming back and I did use pre-mades at first. She just showed me how to do volume with pre-made fans. So I don't allow that. I don't allow my students to do pre-made fans. It's just not the same. It doesn't give. Fast forward, a few months later, I got pregnant with.
Wait, just pause.
Oh, yeah.
Wait,
Come
come
here.
here. Log in the content room.
Come here.
Come here,
No,
go.
no, no, come here.
Boy, I would literally post every client on my story. I would just ask them like, hey, can I just take a quick like little video of you? Nobody ever said no. So ask your clients to take afters. Doesn't matter if they have makeup on or not, whatever, just post. Then like 6 months into my lashing journey, I would say 6 to 8 months, I ended up getting pregnant and I was working from my ex's house at the time. And I remember like my dad calling me one day, and my dad is just like a big dreamer. He was like, Lana, like I've been looking into what you're doing and I think that you should really get a license so you can open up a salon one day. And I'm like, what? Like, oh, how do you even do that? Like, I don't even know how to pay rent. I don't even know how to pay like a light bill. Like, what do you mean? I just know how to like buy groceries. And so I'm like, you know what? He's like, I'll pay for it. Like, let's look into schools. So then he found one that was like 30 minutes away from me, and it was like the cheapest one. So I'm like, okay, fine. I ended up going to that one. So I would literally service clients like at 6, 7 a.m. go to school from like 9 to, I don't know, like 1, and then come home and work, take a quick little like 20-minute nap because I was so tired, and then work from like 2 to like 9 or 10 p.m. I was literally like all into my business. Like I barely paid any attention to my ex at the time, and just in and out, have clients walking in and out. So I was pregnant while going to school, and I was so tired, honestly. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. Okay, I would drive 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back. And I remember you know what would get me through the day? Coladas. I would literally drink a whole colada. Do you know how many milligrams of caffeine that is? Crazy, like not healthy for a pregnant woman to intake, but I had no idea. A whole colada. As I was lashing my client from home, her name was Jade, I kept getting like contractions, you know, and they were a little bit more frequent than usual. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like I tried, like every time I would have a contraction, like I would have to like kind of like stop and like pretend like I'm fixing my lash guard so I wouldn't freak her out. And it was like, by the time I finished her, it was like 9:30 or 10 p.m. And I remember calling my friend at the time, like, hey, like, let's go get some Wendy's. I'm craving some spicy chicken nuggets. And I just want to make sure to eat something before, I don't know, I have a feeling I may go into the hospital. So that same day, or that same night at 4 a.m., a few hours later, I started to have contractions. And then I literally had her the next day around like October 31st. Around like 8 or 9 p.m. And now she's 6 years old. So, okay. So remember how I told you guys that my first lash model was my best friend now at the time? Her name is Angie. While I was pregnant, she took the same course I took. And she's like, look, honestly, like I can't learn, like this trainer left me like in the room, and my mom also took a course with her. And yeah, my mom also took a course with her and left her in the room lashing a model. Like she went to like go run errands. I'm like, what do you mean, Mom? Like, how could she do that to you? Yeah, it's crazy. My mom actually did lashing for a little bit. She started to lash. She would just like lash my aunt, but like get it on the skin because like my mom couldn't see anything. So you know what? At the time, I trained Angie because she really begged me to teach her how to do lashes. And I'm like, look, like if you don't learn, that's not my fault. Little disclaimer. And I taught her and she learned very quickly. And then I posted that, and then I started to get some inquiries. So post, okay. Then I was so booked that I really needed help with appointments. So she was kind of like my first employee. So when I wouldn't lash, she would be there at my house lashing. And I would be like, I don't know, out somewhere doing errands. And I'm like, it was very hard to trust somebody with the work, but it was fine. So while I had Olivia, okay, crazy, but I remember I only had 3 weeks off. And Angie would still lash. So it's funny because I'm like, you know what? Like, let's look for like a little room to rent at a salon. So that way, like, I don't want to have like so many people at my house while I have a newborn. And I rented like this little like tiny room in like a nail salon. And I remember it was freezing. She would call me like, it's so cold in here. Like the adhesive is not working right. And I'm like, you know what? Like when I come back, I wanna let me come up with like a group training. and let me start taking deposits. So you should see my old flyer. It was like half gray, half pink with like my big bun. And I remember just like posting it, and I actually got like 8 deposits. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't fit in my room. I can only fit 2 girls in my room. So I'm like, okay, I have to rent. So I would call. Mind you, like it was like a week after I delivered, and I'm like trying to like look for spaces to rent because I have a training in 2 weeks with like 7 girls. Girls, I know. You didn't know this part?
I didn't know about the beauty scene at a nail salon.
So I called different places. I'm like, okay, that's $1,200 for a day, and I need 2-day training. Like that's crazy. That's like more than half of what I'm gonna make. And because my trainings were very low, maybe like $800 for 2 days, something like that. So then I'm like, oh, I don't know what clicked in my head. I don't know if it was God's trying to tell me like, look, Lana, like you need to open up your own space now. So I called one of my mom's friends who like has some experience in business. I called Marlene, and I'm like, look, like this is my problem. Do you think that I should look for like a space? Like, is it time? And mind you, I had already like my license. And she was like, yeah, we should start looking right now. And I'm like, okay, this is my budget. So I started looking, like everything that was like in my budget was not cute. And I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna get like a hole in the wall. Like I just, no way. Especially like in, I don't know, like in an unsafe area, like no. I wasn't gonna do that. I'm like, my safety comes first. And because I'm working with like, you know, it's just me, and like I worked very late, that's very dangerous. So I found this place. It was just like everything that I was looking for and more, but it was like double my budget. And I was so scared because number one, I didn't have a business bank account. They're like, okay, like what's up with your business? I'm like, I don't have any of that, but I promise you, I have a lot of clients. Like I have a lot of clients that pay cash. Like I'll pay cash. Like I'll pay like 3 months in advance, like whatever you need. I just don't have like a business bank account to show for that I'm like a real business. And I don't know how I convinced them to let me operate my business, but I did. And I got the space a week before my training. Mind you, our Olivia was already like 2 weeks. Yeah, I remember having her like in the stroller and like moving boxes, and Angie was helping me. Thank God for Angie. Like at that time, like sometimes even I had an air fryer there. Sometimes Angie would even help me like cook food. She would cook food for me because I don't know how I survived. It was crazy. So I got my first space there, and then a year later, I'm just driving around Wynwood. It's like this like really cool. Well, it used to be really cool. Now it's like a little overpopulated. And I just kept like driving around like Wynwood. And I'm like, oh, it would be so nice to have a storefront. Like, but why would I even want a store? Like, why? If I was just perfectly fine in that loft. So I ended up driving around, and I called whatever that space, and guess what, like that storefront that I wanted, actually his son lived in my unit, was the tenant before me. Isn't that crazy? And I would get like the mail like Lombardi, and it was his son. And I'm like, oh, this is meant to be. The universe put me in alignment with this man. So I'm like, I have to, this is a sign. I was like, this is a sign from the universe, right? Before I gave my life to Christ, I have to go for it. So I ended up dumping like so much money into that place without even knowing what a certificate of use was, without doing permits. They literally legit built a wall in there, and because it wasn't ADA compliant, I had to tear it down. I just was very young and dumb, and I burned through a lot of money. It was too many signs, right? Like, oh, like whatever. Oh, I've changed so much. I've changed. I feel like now I'm more patient, and I also think that because like I'm older and I have kids, and I also didn't have somebody to tell me like, you need to slow down and you need to do things correctly, and we can't operate that way, you know, because then it just leads to a mess. And that's what exactly happened. I hired people without contracts. I hired people without having like, you know, set rules or values in the company, and it was just off, right? So fast forward to pandemic, I became a single mom. I decided again just to pick up and leave, and when my ex got back into town, I was gone. He was like, are you gonna pick me up from the airport? Are you gonna pick us up from the airport? And I'm like, no, you can Uber. I moved out. I left him with all the furniture I bought and everything. And that's it. But that's how the relationship ended. Like, so weird, right? Like, oh, I moved out. Okay. Well, thanks. You didn't leave me a blanket. I'm like, dude, I left you with a whole couch, a bed. And then I'm like, well, anyways, but God bless him. I was like, okay, I'll pick up Olivia in the morning. And by the way, I don't even know how I got approved for an apartment because I didn't have like a business pay stub or anything. I don't know. I begged. I remember like I begged and I'm like, okay, I have like 2 days to find an apartment and move before they get back. I don't know. It felt so like, when me and Ignacio get into like a little like argument, it could be dumb. And like, he's just like, Lana, like, I don't know how our argument doesn't affect your mood when you walk into your business. Like, I don't know how you could just keep going like that. And I'm like, look, don't take it personal, babe. Like, I love you, but it's like, it's something that I had to do in my life. Like, I've always been on go, on last minute, on just survival mode. There would be nights where like I would literally fight with my ex, not sleep and have to do a full day of work and nobody would ever know. Like, I wouldn't talk about it with my clients. Like, I wouldn't, like be in a mood. Like, nope, I just kept moving because that's what I had to do, right? And yeah, anyways, so maybe that's why I feel like I don't remember a lot of it. If you're with somebody that doesn't value you, doesn't love you, is unfaithful, I mean, pray for them. But at the same time too, like if it's affecting you so much, I think that you deserve better. And I do believe that you don't have to rely on your own strength. You can rely on God's strength. And I know that it's very painful in the beginning, but a few months down the road, you'll feel much better and you'll feel very liberated. And I know I've talked to like a lot of girls where they'll be so motivated to start their business, but then something happens in the relationship and, they just give up and then they just give up their lashing career like that because life got hard. But you can't let that one person that's probably not going to be in your life or you're probably not going to marry affect your whole career, right? So that's what I would say. Just keep going. It's going to hurt. Life is painful, but you don't have to do it alone, okay? You don't have to do it alone. Find a community. Find a healthy community, right? Just don't ask for advice to somebody that does not share the same values, like simple, But anyways, then I got my storefront, put a lot of money into that. Then COVID hit. I was a single mom paying 2 rents. And then I had a conversation with my friend and she's also in the beauty industry. And she was like, hey, you know what's been really helping me? Like I just started doing online courses. And I'm like, oh, okay, like maybe I'll try because a lot of my revenue was coming. I would go to New York and travel to do courses. And that's the first place that got shut down. Like that was like zombie land with COVID. Like, I don't know if it was I don't know, but that was like the place that got hit the worst. I remember I had my storefront during the pandemic and a lot of like how I'd make a lot of money. I would travel to New York at least like twice. Hi. Oh yeah, I know that this looks like a super cute studio, but we're in the middle of our, I guess, waiting room area. Right? And then Angie's next. I'm gonna do your lashes. I know it was better that you came here because I feel like I can get them fuller fast. So a lot of my revenue was coming from New York trainings. And then once I got shut down, whatever, I had a conversation with my friend in the beauty industry and I'm like, you know what, let me just try these online trainings. And thank God for these online trainings and e-commerce, right? Because if not, I don't know what I would have done. Honestly, I think I would have just moved back with my mom and shut down my space. And I think I was paying like $8,000 in rent between my apartment and my storefront, and it was really crazy. So then, thank God that kept me up and running. And I also did like an MLM company, which was, MLM money. Yeah, I did like an MLM company that also kind of helped me too. And the fact that I got to meet a lot of women and stay in community during that time was good, but I let that go because I felt like I couldn't focus on 2 things at one time. So I decided to go again all in my Lana Lash business and just go full in on e-commerce. I took clients whenever they wanted to come, 8 p.m., 7 a.m., but I would do like 7 to 8 people in a day, easy, 5-6 days a week. I needed to. I had to pay 2 rents. So I launched my online and that really helped me. And then I decided to get out of that storefront in Wynwood because I think parking was just crazy. I found somebody that wanted to take over my lease. So thank God I didn't get any penalties. And then by that time I was already pregnant. I had met my husband. I met him, and then 2 months later I was pregnant and engaged. Yeah, but he's the one, for real. He's the one.
Say the story. Yes.
I messaged his business page because like I'm like, okay, I would always look for like other sources of income. Like I would try to do like multiple things at one time. Like if I wasn't working and I wasn't putting the baby down to bed, I was researching stuff on how to make money. So I really loved e-commerce, and he had that e-commerce business at the time. And then I guess he messaged me through his personal page, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like who is this guy? He replies to every one of my stories, and I'm like, babe, like what were you thinking? Like the reason why I didn't write back to you is because I thought you were like a little creepy. And he was like, well, you wouldn't answer me. And I'm like, well, maybe if you would not like answer to every story, I wouldn't really think, like maybe you were like that with every girl. So then it got to the point where I was just dating at the time. I would just choose the same kind of man, right? And one day I get back home from basically being cheated on. Yeah, I remember I went out of town. I don't know if this is appropriate to say, but I went out of town with this guy I was talking to, and he left me, in the hotel room, and because I fell asleep, whatever, like, and he posted that he was at a strip club with another girl, and I called my mom, and she was like, Alana, burn down the hotel room right now. I'm like, no, mom, I'm just gonna get up and leave, and I'm gonna block him as soon as I land. And that's exactly what I did. I didn't ask like, what were you doing there with this girl? Because we're like, what? So I'm like, you know what? And I got home that day, and I look up into the sky, and I'm like, okay, God, I'm ready for some change, right? And then that's when Iggy was messaging me, and like, I just decided to write back because I'm like, you know what? This guy was so persistent, and he was about to book a lash appointment with me. I'm like, okay, let's meet. I'm like, what's your phone number? So he gave me his phone number.
You asked for his phone number?
No. You know what? He actually texted my number. I didn't give him. So I thought that was creepy. He was like, hey, this is Ignacio. And he was like, yeah, it was so easy to find your number. And I'm like, it was just linked to one of your Facebook pages. And I'm like, okay. So then I didn't write back. And then one day, I would just DM him back and forth. And then one day I FaceTime him, like out of the blue. Like I never texted him back. I just, one day out of the blue, FaceTime him. And he thought like it was just like a butt dial. And then he calls me. I'm like, hey, I just tried to call you. And he FaceTimes me back. After like a minute, my phone dies. So he thought that I hung up on him. Our first day was July. We ended up hanging out. I called him. I'm like, hey, let's go meet in Wynwood for some drinks. And I brought like my 2 friends with me. And he didn't know I was gonna show up with those 2 girls. And then we just connected like instantly. And it's kind of like my 2 friends weren't there, And then he walks me to my car, and I go to side turn him, but I'm like, oh, he's probably gonna kiss me, so I should just kiss him, because just give him like a little peck so it's not awkward. So then I just kissed him, and then he texted me, and then I never invited guys over to my house, but I decided to invite him over, and the rest was history. And then we just hung out every single day for I don't know, weeks. We never spent a night apart. And then I went to New York for a training, got pregnant. He never wanted kids, but he loved Olivia so much that I don't know what happened. As I was pregnant with Adriano, I saw this space and I fell in love with it. It was like the big giant warehouse, which again, I got lied to. And I signed a lease right before giving birth, and there was a lot of construction going on. We were doing we were building rooms, mind you, no permits, nothing. Because the guy told me, no, you don't need that. And I don't know why I listened, but this is your sign to do your research and get some knowledge before you open something up. It's crazy. I was wild. And then I gave birth, and as I gave birth, I was launching a little course. I was launching a course while I was in the delivery room.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. I just needed I was just scared, I need to make money. My business needs to generate revenue, and this is something that could help people, so I just launched it. Yeah, and then Nana was in the NICU for 10 days and I was going back and forth a lot, but whatever, fast forward. I had a salon, and then my techs were the majority of my revenue. And then long story short, they ended up leaving. So I ended up shutting my salon. And then I was just doing like content and models for fun, just to like really like release my anxiety. I was 25 at the time. And I was so stressed, like I even had like my whole face broke out. It was wild. And like I remember just making that decision, like, look, I'm gonna literally shut down my salon because I can't handle all of these clients. So I'd rather just not take any. Let me just take models and just do it for fun. And people kept asking what lash map is that? How do you do it? So I'm like, let me just create like an ebook, like for fun. And I didn't think anything of it, and boom. That's when like I feel like my business started generating some kind of money, and I just kept launching 2, 3, 4. By the time we launched 4, I was in this location now. Oh, really? Wow. We need another ebook. We need ebook 7. So yeah, that's how I got here, 7 years deep. And I just literally wake up, work out. I'm a mom. I come here, do the same thing over and over again. And that's life. And I feel like the hardest thing when I was first starting my business was trying not to work. I just wanted to keep on working and really just take appointments. And I struggled with, I guess, trusting people. So I didn't really hire right when I needed to. But even then, hiring was difficult just because, again, like I wasn't in the position mentally as like a boss. I was more of a creative. I didn't know how to manage people. I didn't know how to set rules. Like, it's hard for me to have tough conversations. And I'm just that kind of person. So I would say that was definitely the hardest thing right when I first started my business, is running it in a professional way and not as just like a beginner. So I would say if you're just starting out, really be resourceful and learn from somebody that's in the position that you'd want to be in. Don't just go for like the cheapest course, or don't just think because you took one course like you're good. And it's just a constant journey of remaining a student. I knew that I needed to hire because I was pregnant, and I'm like, okay, if I don't lash, my business is not going to generate anything. So I'm like, okay, I think that this is the time where I may need to hire some help. So I hired Angie, and she was my first student, my first employee, I would say. I would just Venmo her, you know, it wasn't like a real employee. And that's how I knew. I knew that I couldn't do it alone. I knew that I couldn't be, I had a newborn. I couldn't work. I had so many sleepless nights. But again, if I didn't have some kind of faith and I didn't have some kind of trust, even though it was hard for me to trust, I knew that I would have lost a lot of my clients. So what keeps me motivated to continue to run my business is the people around me. It's really fun and enjoying seeing everybody just get along. I feel like if I was just alone, I don't know if I would continue, because there are days where I just feel a little unmotivated or tired, but I know that this is my passion, and when I'm creative, that's when I thrive the most. So, I mean, yes, there's days that I want to just stay home, but I know that running based off of emotion is not really, I guess, reality. I do take a break when I need it, just on weekends. I feel like because of the team I have now, I can not work on Saturdays and Sundays. So those are my family days, except tomorrow we have a photo shoot. And the weekend before we had a masterclass. But again, there's seasons to everything. And we're gonna have a really good, nice break for the holidays. So to sum it all up, is the people around me is what keeps me motivated, and seeing my students' success. That's what motivates me. You know, just getting daily messages of, your ebooks have helped me, your course has helped me so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Like, I really couldn't have done it without you, is what really keeps me going. So with that being said, I'm gonna wrap up this little, I don't know what we should call it. I need help. I don't know if this is a series, just a regular YouTube. video. I don't know, like comment down below what we should call this, I don't know, mini series. Let me know what topics you want to hear. Like, so number 1, I need a name. Number 2, tell me what you're struggling with and tell me what you want to see next. So with that being said, please follow and subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. And I hope that you guys got to see my vulnerable side. So I love you guys and see you guys on the next episode.